Hi everyone, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to AFTV News Daily. It's a news special, and that is because the Premier League fixtures or fixture list, let's say, we all know who everyone's playing, but it's about when they're playing and how the fixture list looks. It has been revealed, came out about 6 minutes ago. Worldwide, everyone's had a first look. We're here to talk about it. I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Robbie. How are you, Robbie?
Yeah, good. Transfer Daily, by the way, is out today for anybody who's asking. It will be out at midday. We're doing it slightly later today because of this news that's breaking on the fixture list. So we thought we'd go with this first, but Transfer Daily will be out a little later on.
There we go, guys. And of course, how could I forget? Cecil, how are you, Cecil?
I'm good. I mean, the sun's out. The day's looking crisp. I was happy until I saw the fixture list, and then now, boy.
Oh, guys, we've got a lot to get into. Just before we do, get your comments in. Let us know how you're feeling about the fixture list to start. What are your expectations for Arteta's first 10 games of the season? I think there's a lot to break down here. We're going to go through it basically month by month, fixture by fixture. Look at that start. Look at how our potential end is looking. Ultimately, everyone plays everyone, but you can get more favourable lists in the way that the kind of the fixtures marry up. So we're gonna have a little look at this. And just before we do, guys, do go and check out AFTV VIP, just as all the notifications pour through on my phone. Do go check out AFTV VIP. You can get a 2 free-week trial and then $2.99 a month for all sorts of exclusive content, and everything as well that comes out on YouTube is ad-free as well. So go check that out, guys. A lot of great stuff. The Hours Your Touch is one of my personal favorites, as Cecil knows. Right, guys, let's get straight into it. There's a lot to have a look at. While I kind of get your initial reactions, I'm going to try pull this up on screen so everyone can have a look. We open with Brentford away, obviously newly promoted Brentford, who won in that playoff final. Then it's Chelsea at home, our first home game of the season. And then we travel to the Etihad, Manchester City away immediately. I mean, that's not an easy run. I'd even throw in Burnley away as the game after that. So that's 3 away games in the first 4 games. It's tricky. Robbie, let's get your instant reaction to that.
I think that's amongst the hardest start you could possibly have got. It really is. That is those first 3 games are really, really tough. I mean, kicking off with Brentford, who newly promoted. You never ever want a newly promoted team early in the season because they play levels above what they're probably going to play later on in the season, right? So they're chomping at the bit. The first game in the Premier League for Brentford at their brand new stadium. I know that the chairman of Brentford is an Arsenal fan, because I even sent him a message when they came up into the Premier League and said to him, I bet you're looking forward to playing Arsenal next season. And he said, yes, right. They got us first game at home. They're going to be pumped for that. That's going to be a very tough game. And they're a decent side as well, right? Followed by Chelsea. I know, listen, a lot of people will be looking at it and say, well, you know what? We beat Chelsea twice last season. Remember that? Chelsea didn't actually beat us last season. But it's still a tough game. You know that Chelsea, they're the European champions. They're going to spend a lot of money. Probably again in the summer, there's talking and buying players like Haaland and things like that. You don't really want to be coming up against them so early. And then the third game, Manchester City away. When was the last time we beat Manchester City in the Premier League? We haven't, have we? You know what I mean? That away especially, that is a tough game. If we haven't got our act together by those first 3 games, and it makes it really interesting with what I'm talking about every day on transfers, if we haven't got the right players in and they haven't had a great pre-season, we are hit the ground running. You could start off the season conceivably, with a point or with no points. Those are 3 very, very tough games. So Arsenal are really going to have to be on it, because I feel that is difficult, a difficult start. And as I said, there'll be a lot of people looking at Brentford. No, that's a tough game because, you saw when Norwich first came up into the Premier League, for the first couple months, they were on fire, right? Driven by their crowd behind them and that, they were on fire. So, I think it's tough, but it's only tough if Arsenal haven't got their act together. If they've got their act together, they can beat a Chelsea, they can beat a Brentford. City, I'm not sure about. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough for me.
So someone just made a great point there that we started with Fulham last season, which is very true. And it made the point that actually they weren't ready. You know, could that maybe go in our favour when it comes to Brentford?
I think Brentford, I think it's going to be different. And I think, remember last season when we started off with Fulham, it was with no fans in the ground.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, that's what makes the difference this early in the season. And Brentford, who've never been in on those levels before, are going to be in the Premier League with fans in the ground. We don't know if it will be full capacity. It could be if all the restrictions are eased. It could be a full stadium. And their fans will be absolutely, that big place will be, I mean, I look forward to go to that game.
Yeah.
But it will be absolutely electric. And I'm telling you, that is a very, very tough opening game. I think that's tougher than Fulham. As I said, we were a bit of an advantage that there were no fans. That changed the dynamic of that game.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. Well, guys, Cecil, we've not heard from you yet. Sort of your kind of reaction. Let's talk about that first three. That kind of first 3 or 4 as a collective, because Robbie's right. It's tough.
It is tough. It's probably is one of the hardest. Let's be real. Like Brentford coming up, they're going to be wanting to prove themselves, and let's be honest, we're the club that normally teams prove themselves against if after watching last season. So they'll be fired up for it. It'll be a difficult game, and then Chelsea being Champions League winners, and then we've got City being the Premiership winners as well. It's difficult. Any more winners, any more champions that we want to face in the first 3 games?
Yeah, playoff champions, Premier League champions, and Champions League champions in the first.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke, and I'm a bit worried. I feel for, not that I should really feel for Arteta, but I do feel for him. He has to prove himself straight off the bat. I mean, if we lose to Brentford, I mean, I'm not expected to beat Chelsea. I'm not expected to beat City either. So I think I would put a lot of pressure on Mikel Arteta. So I don't know. It's a tough run, and then obviously Burnley. We struggled a lot against Burnley last season as well. So it doesn't get any easier. And I know Norwich is also in there in the first kind of 5 matches. So 2 new promoted teams, hard run, and then Burnley. So it'll be difficult.
So, to me, I don't have a problem with the September now, but what Burnley, Norwich. You know, those are tough. You know, I don't have a problem with those. I don't have a problem with those games. I think those are games which we can pick up points. Tottenham at home, that's the big one we all look for as well. But at home, you know, again, at home we got a decent record against Tottenham. You know what I mean? So I ain't got a problem with September. I'm just saying that August is a tough start. Yeah, very, very tough, right? And I think it changes the dynamic now for me of Edu and Mikel Arteta when they're sorting out transfers. They now have to get their business done early. The transfer window closes at the end of August. To me, they have to have in place before that first game, right, the main players that they're looking to get, and they have to have had a good preseason because the preseason kicks off, in July? I think now, after seeing that start, they got to get those players in early. If they don't, as I said, you could sit on the back of 2 defeats out of 3, or even 3-3, worst case scenario, or you could come out of that with only a couple of points, a couple of draws or something like that. So it's very important, because you get the full squad in now and everyone's had a great preseason. You could equally go and turn over a Brentford and turn over a Chelsea. And be off to a good start. You know what I mean? So getting the transfers right and early is very important now. It's key. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think you're spot on. I think if anything, it's a bit of a kick up the arse for Edu and Arteta. If they were planning on doing a Thomas Partey and saying, well, Bissouma's there, we'll wait to the end of the market. We'll see if we can negotiate, this should be the warning. Okay, no, look, it's a fast start. Now, it was always unlikely that we were going to draw, with all due respect, teams that are probably going to finish in the bottom 5 in the first 6 fixtures. But we've had it confirmed now that it is a very difficult start. And we remember that Man City away trip last time. Thomas Partey was on the bench. because we just signed him. He wasn't ready to come straight in, and we can't have any more of that. It's almost a replica of the situation. I know. I think Man City were game week 5 last season, but still, I agree with you. We've got to get our business done early, and I hope this will be a bit of a wake up call to, especially because when's pre-season start, in a month?
July.
You need to integrate these players, and it doesn't feel like we're on the cusp of bringing anyone in. So they really need to get their act together. I want to ask, guys, I'm going to call it the first 4 games, because it is 3 away games in the first 4. What's an acceptable points tally for you?
I was going to ask this as well.
12 points out of that 12. What's acceptable? Let's go with you, Cecil, first.
Oh, good question, James. I was literally going to ask that as well. I'm gonna put Brentford. I'm gonna be hopeful. It always kills me, but be hopeful and say we'll get 3 points there. Chelsea, hopefully again a draw. That's 4. Probably lose to City, and then the Burnley game, expecting a win. So 7 points. Is that really optimistic? Really? Or
for me, that's a minimum.
Yeah.
7 points out. 7 points out of those games. I think City, we've got an awful record against Manchester City, especially at the Etihad. Excuse me. So I don't really look to, I want us to get something out of it. I mean, if we can go and get something out of that, it's a massive statement. But if we could minimum of 7 points, as I said, the weird thing is against Chelsea, we beat Chelsea, twice last season.
Yeah.
We previous to that, we beat Chelsea in the FA Cup. We've got a good record against Chelsea. That's the thing about it. And we are at home against Chelsea as well. So, I'd say a minimum of 7 points. I think a good start from those 4 games would be like 9 to 10 points would be a good start. Obviously 12 points is an amazing start, but I think minimum 7, 9 or 10 points would be fantastic. You know what I mean? I think that'd be a great start.
Yeah,
James, what about you? Yeah, go on.
Sorry?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about you? Go on.
9 points. I'm going to be honest right now. I've more than lowered my expectations for Arsenal over the years with everything that's gone on. I've always taken context into account with everything. But I'm one of these fans. I believe whoever we're playing at home, we should beat them. I've just always believed that Arsenal should always be a club that have players of a certain caliber capable of, at home, on your turf, with the fans behind you, you should be able to beat anyone at home. So I look at that Chelsea game as 3 points. It's not going to be easy. Of course, it's not going to be easy. Look, they spent 200 million last summer and won the Champions League. They'll probably spend another 100 to 200 million again this summer. So, I know I'm asking a lot here, but that's the standards that I think we should have for Arsenal. For me, you go to Brentford and win. Brentford are a good side. They play good football, but they also didn't They also didn't come up in the top 2. People got to remember that they did have to go via the playoffs. They did have a iffy season after what was a very good start. They got some good players, but they've lost a few as well. I think we have to go and beat Brentford, beat Chelsea, 6 points out of 6 there. At the Etihad, if you scrape a draw, great, but realistically, we're probably going to lose that game. Let's not forget that Leicester turned up and beat them 5-2 early in the season last year. So City can be prone to a slow start. And then we've got next is Burnley away. You go and beat Burnley. I mean, how have we not beaten them in the last 2? Is even the last 3? I can't even remember. So for me, 9 points minimum. And I'll always excuse the defeats at City and Liverpool. But the one thing I'll say is that why is it other clubs always manage to... There's always another club that goes to a City or a Liverpool and pulls off a point or a surprise win. And it's never Arsenal. I don't think it's been Arsenal since 2013-14. So I think I am going to start looking at those games and saying, listen, you've got to start getting something from these. Not everyone, fine.
I think you lot are being a bit... I think you're not being a bit optimistic. I think you're being them fans that are expecting. I know as a club we support Arsenal, I know we want the best for them, but I honestly think we're being very optimistic because I think if we get less than 7 points, say we get 6, are you guys going to be straight looking at the manager and saying, listen, something has to change early doors? Or we looking at the team where you No,
I'll judge them after 10 games.
Okay, yeah, because most most managers get till around Christmas time, but it can't be a really bad. I can't expect a really bad start if I'm completely honest. But
yeah,
boy,
but he lost them for, if he lost those first 3 games, he may not make it out of the month. I'll tell you that, right? And I'm saying that's a hard start, right?
It is a hard start.
You go away to Brentford on the first game of the season. Of course, the expectations are Arsenal expected to win that game. Simple as that. End of. But what I'm saying is, they're a good side. They play good football. They're a newly promoted side. Got good players in there. Ivan, Tony. They're going to be pumped up, right? That's it. You could see a draw in a game like that. It wouldn't be a weird result, because at the start of the season, these newly promoted teams, go and look at it over the years. Newly promoted teams at the start of the season do a lot better. It's when, as the season starts to draw on and they get sussed out,
they get fatigued and
they become a different team, right? And then, as I said, Chelsea, that can go anywhere, right? We got a great record against them, but we don't have a better team than them. We know that. They're the champions of Europe right now. And then the third game, Man City, let's be realistic, we probably won't get... I mean, James is right. It's about time we went to one of those places and did something. And this is the test for Mikel Arteta. This is it now. This is the big one. And this is why a lot of people said, right, he was very lucky to get this this summer. And this is it now. No more excuses. Where people are going to be like, and this is it for the Arsenal board and everything. Put a team together that can go up to City and put in a decent challenge, right?
Completely agree.
And then after that, to me, we're supposed to beat Burnley. I have no fear of going to a Burnley. We know it can be a tough place to go to, but if Arsenal got their act together, they're supposed to beat Burnley, right? It's supposed to beat Brentford, really. And we can pull off. But all I'm looking at right now is that's a tough start. Very tough opening 3 games of the month. It's tough. As simple as that. Very tough. And I just think that the transfer window now has just become even more important for Arsenal, because if they don't get that right, it could be a horrible start for Mikel Arteta. So the pressure is loaded on him now after I've seen that start.
Yeah. I agree. Sorry, I nearly interrupted you there, Robbie. There's a slight lag on my end. But let's quickly go through some stats. This will be the first league meeting between Brentford and Arsenal since 1947. Wow. Just a fascinating one. But this one is quite interesting. Arsenal have won just 1 of their 6 visits to Brentford in all competitions. They drew one other and lost 4 times. In fairness, they've not met since 1947, so I don't think we take too much from that. But something we can take something from, when kicking off their Premier League season away from home, Arsenal are unbeaten in 7 games, winning 5, drawing 2.
That's true. That's actually true, right? We always start when we're at home. On our first games, we always poor. So that might be a good omen.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's have a look past that Burnley game, because as you alluded to, Robbie, it does start to become a little bit more favourable, and this is why I talk about judging Arteta in the first 10 games rather than the first 2, 3, 4, as I'm sure a lot of people will be doing. But let's have a look after that. So we said Burnley away, September 10th. We've then got well, that can't make sense. They've put Norwich the day after Burnley. Anyway, I'm sure they'll be messing around with that at some point. But we've then got Norwich at home, Spurs at home, Brighton away, Palace at home, Villa at home, Leicester away. Now that should take us through to 10 games. It's fair to say it becomes quite a bit more favourable through October.
Yeah.
Well, towards the end of October, it gets tough. Aston Villa and Leicester City, really not easy.
Yeah, but we need to. Cecil, I agree. I do agree with you. Villa just beat us to Buendia. Leicester, we've seen what they're trying to do in this market. But I don't want to start looking at fixture lists and saying that Villa at home, Leicester away, and who's before that? Palace at home. That that's a tricky end to October. Otherwise, we really are moving like a mid-table club. Listen, they're good side.
Bro, I'm being real. I hear that, but I'm being real here. That after what we've seen in the past season, bro, we're on the decline. I'm hoping it does change this season, but I've got to be realistic. Aston Villa and Leicester, they're not a side that I can just be like, yeah, we should definitely beat them. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure you're going to enjoy much of this fixture list then. I mean,
I won't.
Because And it kind of goes back to my argument, what I'm saying, that, it's all what we do in the transfer window, because the Arsenal of last season, those are tricky games. A new, improved, new look Arsenal with some top quality players in there and a fire in Aubameyang and stuff like that. Those are not tricky games. Those are winnable games, right? And
Agreed.
I feel working it in the reverse, if Arteta got off to a good start with those first few games, he then has the opportunity to get off to an amazing start when you then see the rest of those games in the first 10. So to me, even the most difficult game there for me is Tottenham, right? But it's at home, and we've got a great record against Tottenham at home. Even the game against Leicester, we did all right against Leicester last season. I know they beat us at their place. No, they beat us at our place, but we beat them away, remember?
Yeah,
but I feel that again, if it's so incumbent upon making sure that we've got a lot of good signings in, as to what we do.
Yeah. I think for me, Tottenham, I'm not actually massively feared of Tottenham for something. I think I believe they're going to lose Kane, and after that, they don't give me too much fear when we're playing them. I do think that Aston Villa's and Leicester City's I'm more worried about, and that's just due to what we've, like Robbie said, what we've done so far in the transfer window has been nothing. And I'm going off the team that finished the season. And if I'm honest, we would struggle against a lot of these teams. And and I don't want to be hopeful. People saying I'm being negative, but I don't want to be hopeful right now because that's what killed me last season.
I understand. Of that sort of first 10 games, 30 points. I know it's kind of difficult to, I'll go through the fixtures again just to kind of refresh your brains a bit. What's kind of an acceptable return from Arteta here? I know maybe that's a pretty bold question, but I'm looking at that and saying, where do I see us dropping points? Maybe Leicester away, a draw.
Villa beat us home and away last season, but as you said, you know what I mean. You don't want to be going off of last season. We've got to have a new, improved team for this season. You get a Basuma in next to a Partey, and this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm looking at it, and I'm saying a new, improved Arsenal. But I'm
25 plus points is a lot. I just saw that comment there. Listen, I think anything above, I don't know, 22, 23 out of 30 points when you've got Leicester, Chelsea, Spurs, and City in that first 10 games, in fairness, when you put it that way, I think anything like 22, 8 points dropped in the first 30, that's a decent start.
Yeah, they're winnable games, man.
Yeah. Well, let's go into November and we'll start speeding through this a little bit because it'll be interesting to see what our rivals are doing in terms of their starts of the season as well. We've then got Watford at home. So that kind of, with all due respect to Watford, that is a favourable game after what we said was a favourable run. We then hit Liverpool away, Newcastle at home, Man United away. November is notoriously a horrendous month for Arsenal. Yeah. Even when we've thought we get to the end of October, this is our year, the title race is on, we go to November, and November likes to give us a big old slap around the face and remind us who we are and what we're doing.
Two very tough games away there in Liverpool and Man United. Yeah. But then home against Newcastle. What's the other one?
We've got Watford at home. Liverpool
Watford,
away.
I mean, it's a balanced month in a way in that you've got two games that you'd expect us to win and two games, I guess, that, are going to be really tough. Although we did go to Old Trafford and win last year, so, Liverpool, we've got a horrific record there away as well.
United didn't beat us last season as well. So
United didn't beat us.
This might be the kind of month where we'll benefit from the lack of European football. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking...
Exactly. You are right there, James, because the Champions League will be in full swing for Man United and Liverpool. Really. They could be facing Juventus on the Tuesday. But then both teams have got great squads and both teams are used to playing in that competition. So it's you're right. This is where the lack of European football can work in our favour. And especially we keep the team fit and we're rearing to go and, so it can work in our favour. So that's a great point.
Yeah, I just wonder whether that is where we're going to benefit more than ever. And I'm glad that these fixtures have propped up in November, where, as you said, there's every chance that Liverpool and United have that tricky game at Atalanta or or wherever, where, you know.
And then normally, you know, in November, you're still early in the Champions League, and those are games you've got to win. It's not like towards the end of December when a lot of teams are already qualified and stuff like that. So,
agreed.
Yeah, I was going to quickly say there, James, as well. You know, November is notoriously hard for Arsenal. We do struggle there. December.
So I'm just getting my battery. My battery's running low. I'm just getting my lead.
No worries.
He's just leaving big time. See, Robbie, he's just leaving.
He's seen the fixture list and he just thought, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. Forget this. Leave the youngsters to do it. No, quickly, James. You know that November is notoriously hard, and people watching for Arsenal. By December, we kind of have an idea. We never really know how the Premier League's going to end, but by the end of December, you kind of know where you're gonna. Well, we have a
what you're
where
competing
kind
for.
of land. Yeah, but there's one thing that we do know with Arsenal: we always end the season well. I know we haven't got to the end fixtures yet, but by December, I'll be able to gauge if we're doing well. Where we're going to kind of end up, because like I said, we always end the season well for Arsenal. We can look at last season, we look at many seasons before. We speak about it in the build-up show. So I'll be very intrigued to see towards the end, and we'll look at December, because by then we'll having a decision on if Arteta is the man. I know Robbie said if we lose the first 3 games, then boy, he could be out. But it'd be interesting to see where we are in December. But anyway, let's get
that. Well, Seth, I'd like your take on this December run, because we start with Everton away. That comes straight after Man United away. So that's a pretty grueling back-to-back set of fixtures. I mean, really, we're talking Liverpool, United, and Everton away, 3 and 4 games. We then face Southampton at home, West Ham at home, Leeds away, potential Carabao Cup quarter-final if we make it, Norwich away, and that is on Boxing Day, Norwich away, and then Wolves at home.
That's a decent month.
That's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
That's a decent month, man. That's a decent month. That's a good December. And December's always.
It's confident there's guaranteed wins in all those games.
But there's Cecil, like James said, well, you're going off of last season. You could say that for absolutely every game. Then, to me, right? To me, I'm looking on it from Arsenal, where they're running things, doing things right, and have put a proper team together. That's
the 03-04 season you're looking at. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the 03-04 season.
I'm looking, even with the players we've got, Norwich away should not be a tough game for Arsenal. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Wolves at home in December should not be. That's not for me a difficult December. A difficult December for me is Man City followed by Chelsea, like at the start of the season, or Man United away. You know what I mean? That's difficult. Arsenal firing, right? If Norwich and Wolves are a difficult game in December, then we need a new manager. If he's looking on it like that, he should be looking at the fixture list right now and saying, you know what, I've got a favourable December. I really do think that's a favourable December. The previous month, to get Liverpool and United away and Everton, you look on that and say that's tricky, because that's a difficult month.
That is.
But then December, I look on that and I'm like, Southampton at home, West Ham at home, Leeds away, Norwich. I'm sorry, Wolves, you're supposed to be racking up points in that month if you're a decent
that depends on what we do in the transfer window, like you said. If we've got new additions, fair enough. Now, Robbie,
you know what? Even with the players we've got right now, if they're motivated properly with a good preseason and the right players are selected, even with the players we got now, that should not be a difficult month. Shouldn't be. If that's a difficult month for the manager, then he needs to leave and give it to me, because I'm telling you, if you're Jurgen Klopp and you're Guardiola and you're managing the current crop of Arsenal players and you were facing that in December, you would not look on that as a difficult month. You would look on that and say, boy, we can pick up a load of points in this month. They should be looking at that when they're going through the fixture list, and managers do that. They should be looking and say, see, December, we're targeting that month to get lots of points. That's an easy. No disrespect to them teams. There's some very good sides in there, but that is a month where we should be picking up loads of points. Simple as.
I can't wait to fan cam you in that month, Robbie, and we'll
listen. Well, this is the thing that we've been seeing over the years. It's been the decline, right? It's been the decline, but it shouldn't be that we're fearful of Southampton at home, West Ham at home, and Leeds away.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're fearful of that, Jesus Christ, and I mean,
I'm not. Yeah, that's the wording. I'm not fearful. I just know this Arsenal club are how they can heavily disappoint, and of the
then
seasons.
we may as well look through the fixture list and say every game we're gonna.
Yeah,
No, because it's not. Let's move on. Not every game, but
to me, I'm just looking. That's an easy month. That is a month where Mikel Arteta should be picking up points. The previous month, as I said, that's difficult. Away United, away Liverpool, we've got a horrendous record. But then also what James is saying, the time has come now for us to go away to Liverpool and at least get a point in a game. That's when, if you're going to progress as a team, also them games he needs to start targeting and saying, see that game. That's when you start to turn things around. Like James said earlier, that's what Leicester have done over the years. They've gone to Man City and got a win.
Yeah.
They've gone to United and turned them over. You know what I mean? That's what we need to start doing. So
the only thing I'm putting faith in is that we're not in any European football. So I'm expecting the team to be ready for these games. That's the only faith I have right now. I haven't got any faith in the transfers, the manager right now. There needs to be a complete change. But I'm going to be honest, that's what I'm going to be putting.
Cecil, I agree, but that's not really what we're saying. Like, almost, I think Robbie and I are detaching ourselves from this Arsenal team, the current players, this manager, where they are, and saying where Arsenal as a club should be looking at these fixtures, and that's what I'm judging it on, because they need to be held by those standards, and the standards of Arsenal Football Club, with all due respect to Southampton, with all due respect to West Ham United, are that this is an easy start to the season. I'm just going to take some super chats really quickly.
Hold on. Easy December, the start of the season, as I said. Yeah, because to me, the start, that first month of August, that's tough.
That's what I meant. Tough. Sorry.
Yeah.
My super chats. Jay Lings fam says, Robbie, do you think we can make top 4 this season?
I can't answer that until I see what Arsenal do in the transfer market. I really can't, because, you know, at the moment, if you're asking me based off of what we got at the moment, no chance. Absolutely no chance, right? But if with a few intelligent signings, you know, yes, there's a hope. I mean, we've got a lot to make up, because, you know, look at some of the teams ahead of us. Look at the top 4 from last season. Man United have got a better squad than us. So have Manchester City. So have Liverpool. So have Chelsea. We're miles off those at the moment, squad-wise, right? And then you look at Leicester, have got a good squad. They finished in 5th. And you look at West Ham, they had a good season. They're going to be in Europe. They're going to go and spend some money. I think we can get beyond West Ham. They're going to find it tougher this season now that they've got European football, and the pressure is going to be more on them, right? So I think we can, you know. But then Everton might go again, but then they're missing a manager now. So there's a chance for us to push up, and if we make some shrewd signings, and the fact that we're not in Europe means that we can have a trimmer squad. And if we can just get the team, a good team together for this season with no distractions of Europe, there's a chance. But we've got to make the right signings. And that's why when I'm doing the transfer shows sometimes, and I'm hearing about, well, we're interested in Basuma, but there's an alternative, cheaper version. Or we're interested in that, but there's a cheaper. To me, Arsenal I think they need to make about 5-6 signings, and about 2 to 3 of those need to be Premier League ready, top quality players if we're to push for that top 4. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Got Oscar in the comments saying what Arsenal quote marks should be. What a delusional way of thinking. So I think he's talking about what I was saying. Listen, Arsenal have the 3rd richest owner in the league. We are, I mean, you can debate with Chelsea, but we're definitely in the top 4 biggest clubs in the country. We pay some of the biggest wages. No, sorry. The
standards are dropping, man. The standards from people are dropping.
Yeah.
I can understand it, right? I can understand it. There's almost like an acceptance, because a lot of fans are like, well, why should we be talking like how we are? Because the owners don't think that way, and you know, and they're spot on. But the reality of it is, we should be a big club. We shouldn't be fearful of certain teams. And if we do things right in the transfer window, we have a chance. But it's what are they going to do?
Yeah,
let's You're moving on. You're moving on, right?
Right. So
Yeah, forever.
we open the we open 2022 with Manchester City at home.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that'll be a fun New Year's Day.
New
We'll all
Year's
be
is gonna be
hungover,
great.
Robbie, trying to analyse a 4-0 defeat at home. Gets interesting though, because then there's a bit of Carabao Cup football, a bit of Emirates Cup football, Emirates FA Cup. Carabao Cup again, but then Spurs away. So we're basically opening January with City at home, Spurs away, Burnley at home. Tough.
Very tough.
Very tough.
Burnley at home is not tough, but the obviously City at home, Tottenham away. That's tough. We did have we did have a couple of games like that last season where we faced them type of teams back to back, and we did all right.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't get smashed up in all of them. So that's another thing to have a bit of optimism about. That we did have we did face, I think, I can't remember the month last season, but there was one month where it was like that: City, Tottenham, Man United, we did all right.
Yeah, no, it's true. You're right. Let's go through, because you thought that was hard. February starts with Wolves away, Chelsea away, Brentford at home, Liverpool at home, and there's even a Carabao Cup final if we make it. I mean, it's following a similar pattern to last year in that difficult start, favourable autumn, Christmas is meh, difficult start to the new year. But then this is where I always look at March. I always look at March onwards. What's our running? Where can we get to? And then what's our running towards whatever it is we want to achieve? And I've got to say, I think it looks favourable. It's not perfect. There's some tricky games in there, but it's a favourable run-in. I'm just going to go through it quickly, and I'll get your reaction, guys. Watford away, Leicester at home, Villa away. That concludes March. Palace away, Brighton at home, Southampton away, Man United at home, West Ham away, and then we end the season with Leeds at home, Newcastle away, and Everton at home.
Yeah.
I think as far as run-ins go, what's that? One of the big six? Big six, sorry.
It's a great running. Great running. Great running. And so what I look at the fixtures overall, if I was given an overall assessment with it, I'd say tough start to the season, tough start to the new year, but then favourable. And then I think it's November's tough as well, right? But what it tells me is that if we're very well prepared for the new season, and if we were able to get off to a good start, we got a chance to get a bit of momentum going where we could, especially if we got off to a good start and then, got to November and we were in and around it, then have a chance to go on have a really good December, have a half decent start to the year, and then you've got a chance with that running to possibly get, I'm not talking about leagues or nothing, but to get into the top four.
Yeah.
You really do have a fighting chance. But it shows me that preparation for this season now is it's always all important. But with that start that we've got, the preparation has to be good. It can't be no little last minute deadline day running around deals for Arsenal. I feel that they have to get their main business has to be done early, so that's in place and ready for that first game when we take on Brentford, Man City, Chelsea. It's got to be. We've got to be ready. So preparation is the key now, I feel, for Arsenal going forward in this season, and the preparation starts with a good transfer window where we secure some of those targets that we need. It's so important.
Completely agree.
Yeah, this.
That's when the owner put his hand in his pocket, right? So that we're not waiting to sell loads of players before deciding on some of the players we need to buy. We need to get those players early.
This fixture screams new manager near December. Then the whole beautiful run towards the end of the season and us climbing up the table. But That's
Well,
why
look, let's see. He's got every chance to be prepared. Guys, I thought we'll just, Robbie and Cecil, thank you so much for joining. I thought we'll just round off by looking at some of our rivals very, very briefly. Chelsea start with Liverpool and Arsenal away in their first 3 games. They've then got Spurs away and City at home in their first 6. So that's Arsenal away, Liverpool away, Spurs away, and City at home in their first 6. So that's not easy for Chelsea. So I think it's fair to say they might just have pipped us to the hardest start of the season.
That's very tough.
Looking at Man United, it's their end that I think stands out to me. This is their march onwards. I was just making a big point about March. They've got City away, Spurs at home, Liverpool away, Leicester at home, Everton away, Arsenal away, Chelsea at home, all in their last 10 games of the season, 10, 11 games of the season. That's a very difficult run-in for Man United.
And
then Spurs start the season with Man City at home, Wolves away, but in that first 6, they've also got Chelsea at home, Arsenal away. And I'm going to put Palace away just because it's always a tricky not North London, just a tricky London derby. So, you know, we're not the only ones who are sitting here reacting to a fixture list and plotting where we're going to pick up points, where we might drop them. But, you know, it's definitely interesting. I think, you know.
I think, as I said, preparation is going to be all important. And the other thing is, I think you mentioned it earlier, James, is not being in European football. I mean, even like going into that running, you know, those sort of last couple of months, you know, over the last couple of seasons, we've had you know, even though it's not been Champions League, we've gone very deep down into the Europa League.
Yeah,
we've had to be playing a game on a Thursday, then coming back on a Sunday. And, you know, those games you're playing on a Thursday, when you get that deep down, they're difficult games. You know what I mean? Even though when you're coming up against teams that you're supposed to beat, they're tough games. They're 2 legs. That we ain't got that this season. And I'm just going to be really interested to see how that plays out. I personally think it's going to be a big help to Arsenal. I don't think we've coped very well sometimes with coming back after European games. I agree. And I'm going to be really interested to see Arsenal, their preparation this season. How you know, are we going to get fewer injuries? You know, a guy like Kieran Tierney, he's not going to have that load on him, you know, when we've got all these European games and stuff like that. You know, we saw towards the end of the last season, you know, we started to get a lot of injuries to key players. Lacazette was out, Tierney was out, you know, Xhaka was missing, you know. So I seriously, there's opportunities there for Arsenal this season to have a much better season than we did last year. Their opportunities are there, but the start is difficult. And then it works both ways. Get off to a great start against them teams. The optimism goes through the roof. Momentum can build, and you never know where it can take you, you know? So
I agree. There's opportunities for good runs in there, and good runs breed confidence that when those more difficult runs come around, you're going, you know what? We've just won 5 of our last 7. We're fancying ourselves a little bit. I'm going to get a final word from you before we go. Just want to say I'm taking a slight issue with some of the comments, you know, talking about delusion and stuff. I want people to understand we're not saying if the season started today with the current group that we expect Arsenal to smack up all these teams and finish in the top 3. No one is saying that. We're saying that we are setting a new expectation for Arsenal and what they should be doing. And look at this fixture list where the runs should be, that Arsenal should be picking up points and putting wins together. That's where the club should be. Yes, we're not there now, but as Robbie keeps mentioning, and rightly so, they've now got 2 months to prepare. Be ready for that start of the season. We know it's tough. There's no secrets. It's not creeping up on anyone. It's not a draw like a week before. And then we know what's coming. Get ready for it.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
100%. We can see it clearly now how that start of the season is.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know what I mean? Also have had a habit of leaving things late.
Yeah.
You know, leaving things late and then blaming it on, he ain't had a chance to have a pre-season and stuff like that. Well, to me now, there's no excuse on leaving it late now. The key players that Arsenal need in this summer has to be done early.
Yeah.
So that they can have a pre-season so that when we start those games, they're in it.
Yeah,
not
agreed.
Not Partey sitting on the bench at Man City, or Partey coming on a half-injured Partey in games and things like that. We want these players ready. So if you're going to get Basuma, if you're interested in him, go all out now to get him so that he can assimilate into the team. And then when we're up against City, he's there in the midfield, you know?
Agreed. Final word, Cecil?
Yeah, I might be quite a long one, quick, just to end off. But again, my expectations have lowered 100%. I am very much positive. I always am. And I probably will get caught up in the vibe, as James knows, once the season starts. But right now, I'm sitting here and I'm annoyed. I know for a fact Arteta's not going to walk in to a board meeting and say to Kroenkes, listen, I need the business done now. I need this player now. We need to have players early so I can prepare for this hard run, this hard start. I don't see him doing that. So I expect the start to be slow, and I don't want to hear excuses. And that's what we're probably going to get, guys. So that's just how it's been and how it's been these past couple of years. And I don't want to see that. Like you said, it's a hard start. I think business get done early. It probably won't. Going forward, if I'm honest, we probably won't get top 4 this season. Again, obviously, it's quite negative thoughts, but I want to be surprised. I want Arsenal to prove me wrong. I'm not going to be as hopeful as I was last season. We're still in a rebuilding process, and we're probably going to hear loads of excuses like we need.
But you know what, Cecil?
You're a real toy, aren't you, Cecil?
You know what, Cecil?
Sorry,
let me interject though, Cecil. Right, to me as well, this is a massive opportunity for Mikel Arteta. Right, there's been no fans for a year. We've all been away. We've been miserable. We've seen us drop out of European football. It's been horrific, right? However, this, you can look on it, you know, as that sort of glass half full sort of thing, right? You can look on this if you're Mikel Arteta. You know how I hope he's looking on this is that this is a huge opportunity to come now. Fans are coming back. Come with a fresh looking team. Get rid of some of those guys that have been around the place for a long time. Bellerin, Xhaka, these sort of guys, move them on, come with a fresh, exciting team. Do something different this year. Bring a bit of excitement back to the fans. They'll buy into it. I really do feel that fans will buy into it if they see an exciting team put together.
But
right?
do you believe it's going to happen, Robbie? Do you believe that's going to happen? Or are you just
I don't know if it's going to happen, right? Because if you base it off of what's happened over the past few years, no. Yeah. But what I'm saying is this is an opportunity to change, for them to bring a bit of dynamism back to this football club. That's what it's been lacking. It's just we've just been trawling along for the last few years. Here's a chance now. They've already got rid of a lot of those guys like Ozils and people like that, and Mustafis. They're all gone. There's a few more of them. We need to move on, bring in some excitement. And I think fans, if you did that, I even think the fans will give the Mikel Arteta and that a bit of a chance. So they'll be like, you know what? New era, new team, new excitement. Let's see but this is the test for them. Are they going to do that, or is it going to be the same old? If it is, then we're in trouble. But this is a real chance to refresh and reset. No European football. A big chance. There's no excuses, I feel, going into this new season. They could really get people, fans back on side. But, I understand why there's a lot of fans that are like, miserable about the situation. But let's see Arsenal, go and get Basuma, get Maddison if you're getting Maddison. Get an exciting right back in there. Play Martinelli, Try and get Aubameyang firing again. You know what I mean? Let's get this team exciting again.
I agree.
That's what I want to see this season. I really want to see that. Like a bit like you saw Leeds last year, where they're just playing without fear. I want to see that with Arsenal now.
I want exciting players, but I also want a manager that has a style of player philosophy that is going to push Arsenal to where they need to be as well. I know that the exciting players may blind us a little bit, but I need to see improvements going into the next season. I don't want to just see shiny toys. But I hear that. I don't know why I don't know. This is how I feel.
Yeah, bloody hell, Cecil.
I know. I'm sorry.
Smile on your face, man. No. This is what's happening, right? You're telling us what you expect to happen, whereas me and Robbie are telling you what we demand to happen. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So if we did a predictions now, we went to the gamble safely. If we went and put money on it, we'd probably put similar positions in terms of finishing in the table. right now as of this day. But we're talking about what we're demanding. I'm demanding we finish minimum in the top 4. It is a clear shootout. It's a one path road. Win your Premier League fixtures, get into that top 4. No other distractions. And a club of Arsenal's size, when I said the 3rd richest owner, top 4 biggest clubs in the country, we pay the highest season ticket prices, we pay some of the highest wages, and we're saying we might get 6th or 7th. Appalling. In no other industry would that level of outlay and investment yield such a low return and it just be okay. No,
and it starts with the owner. And like you said, James,
go on.
The owner should be saying, right, here's some money to go and reinvest to get this, let's get an exciting team together. And then, however, now that I've a bit like Abramovich does, now that I've given you this, I demand top 4. Demand. And if you don't get it, you're gone.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's what I want to see, the expectations, brought back up to where they used to be in this club. Yes, it takes time to get back to where we want it to be. But if we don't do that, it's going to be the same like last year. And then I'd understand where Cecil's coming from.
Yeah.
But, I'm with you, James, man. And I think every fan, we demand now that, we demand good signings. We demand a good season. We deserve it. After the rubbish we saw last year, we demand it. And if those in the powers can't deliver it, then they need to go.
Yeah.
The owners, there's Daniel, hand it over, collect your money and go. And Mikel Arteta, you've had a great chance. You would have been here for quite a while now, especially when you look how long managers last these days. And you wouldn't have delivered, you'd have to go as well. So this is a crunch season.
Yeah.
Crunch season, and we as fans should be demanding certain things, nothing less. We don't want to see what we've seen in previous years.
Yeah. Completely agree. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you everyone in the comment section sending in your super chats and discussing this with us. It's been great fun. Now, Cess and I are actually going to be back for a Twitter Spaces. It's the first time we're doing this on AFTV. It's basically a chance to chat to you guys, but I don't just mean comments. You actually get to come on, have your say. So do look out for that. We're going to do that around midday UK time. Have a look for that. We're going to be chatting about the fixture list, transfers, all sorts of stuff. AFTV VIP 2-week free trial, $2.99 a month for all sorts of amazing free content. Well, free for the first 2 weeks, $2.99 a month otherwise. But all the YouTube stuff does come out early on the app as well, ad free. Look out for that. And of course, tune into there we go, the Don Robbie channel. We are covering every single Euros game. We're doing a watch along. Cecil's out on the road doing fan cams. I couldn't even believe it last night. I went on YouTube. I was working till late, and I saw you were all over the place doing fan cams, which is amazing. It's great fun. And tune in today, especially because apart from the Finland game, which I think is the 2 p.m. Kickoff, we've got Turkish back in the building for his first appearance after storming off at Box Park. We've not seen him since, guys. Well, I'm joking. He has done a few news dailies. I've not seen him since. And we are going to be watching the Turkey game. Crucial that they win today. And obviously, Gli Azzurri are back again to try and cement their place in that top 1 position of the group. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Don't forget Transfer Daily. Don't forget Transfer Daily.
Transfer Daily. I'm sorry, I'm neglecting Transfer Daily.
Yeah, it's more important now after seeing those fixture lists. I'll tell you. You want to hear about all the latest links to James Maddison? Check that out today. Out at midday. Transfer Daily.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks for joining. It's been great fun, and we'll see you on the next one.